Let me tell you a story. In an old riverside village, a fisherman brought home a large fish. As he prepared it, he noticed its head was rotting. His family suggested, add spices to the body, it will mask the smell. But no matter how much seasoning they used, the decay from the head spread, ruining the entire dinner. The fisherman sighed. When the head rots, the whole fish follows. No amount of work on the body can change that. And just like that fisherman, I've seen firsthand how leadership, or the lack of it, can make or break a company. Often we try to fix low morale, disengagement, and burnout by throwing perks, bonuses, and wellness programs at employees. But surface-level solutions can't fix a culture rotting from poor leadership. You may ask, how do I know about it? Well, it's easy. You need to work in one company long enough to be able to see the pattern of how changes in leadership change the culture. And I witness it a few good times. And when leadership changes, so does engagement. Welcome to the Unbound Mind, where personal freedom is the highest value and a way of being. And since you likely have no time to watch a talking head while fighting through your to-do list, well, usually I don't, let's switch to deep focus mode. So you don't have to stare at my face, while I don't have to worry about you staring. It's a win-win. You keep doing whatever you do, and I'll keep talking. Let's go.
Unbound Mind.
And that's the brutal truth most leaders don't want to hear. But if you're willing to confront it, you can transform your business, your culture, and yourself. Just listen to that. According to research from the Korn Institute, companies with higher rates of self-aware leaders achieve stock returns for around 2 to 4% higher than those with lower rates of self-aware leaders. Another study, a study by Green Peak Partners and Cornell University, found a direct link between executive self-awareness and their company's overall financial performance. This isn't just about feeling good. It's actually about your bottom line. A long while ago, I chose a corporate career. I was motivated to bring my best to every company I worked for. I love strategy. I love seeing my brands profitable. And I loved growing businesses and seeing a tangible contribution of my efforts. From this perspective, well, I was a perfect employee, a highly ambitious and self-motivated, quick learner with enviable productivity. What not to wish for? No matter the company, I've always been assessed as a high-potential employee, ready for a fast promotion. One day, I was lucky to join an incredible company at its peak. Led by amazing leaders who made work enjoyable, I felt appreciated, trusted, and safe to give my best. The office buzzed with laughter, collaboration, and mutual support. Every day, I thrived in this environment, willingly staying late to brainstorm ideas and contribute to shared success. It didn't feel like work. Actually, it felt like being part of a family. But one day, those great leaders were promoted or moved on, replaced by new directors with different leadership styles. And almost overnight, the energy shifted. Laughter faded, replaced by fear of speaking up and rigid adherence to managerial demands. Passion for the brand or team no longer mattered. Success now dependent on stroking egos and singing a politically accepted tune. And dissatisfaction took precedence. No longer was the job enjoyable, but a necessity to pay the bills and a fear of uncertainty if we stepped away from employment. And consequently, well, stress levels soared. Feeling overwhelmed became the norm. High salaries, perks, wellness programs, and bonuses were no longer enough to compensate for the ever-growing desire to quit. Well, they couldn't fix what was really broken, and it was poor leadership. Gallup reports that 70% of employee engagement is tied directly to their manager. And another study by global leadership consulting firm DDI shows that 57% of employees have quit a job because of their boss. And an additional 32% have seriously considered leaving because of their boss. People leave managers, not companies. And when leadership changes, well, so does engagement. And if it is so, how could it be possible when all leaders in corporate environments go through the same soft skills appraisals, attend the same leadership trainings, and are promoted according to their leadership performance and potential? When everything is so standardized and every leader is constantly grilled on leadership capabilities, they must be pretty cloned, right? Well, tell that to anyone who's ever worked under a certified leader and still quit. You see, I didn't pay much attention to it then, as I was far too preoccupied with my everlasting workplace misery, until finally I realized that standardized appraisals and superficial trainings disregard or forget about just one tiny but critical point. You see, there's always an individual behind a leader. A leader is just one of the roles that we assume. Appraisals and cookie-cutter trainings aren't that bad, but they're quick and often expensive fixes that don't address a root cause. When we have our true self corrupted, no amount of training will prevent our exterior from cracking under stress. And no amount of theoretical knowledge will help us implement everything that we've learned. Personality often overpowers superficial leadership knowledge, and it reveals blind spots that training alone can't fix. And having realized it, I viewed leadership differently, knowing that culture as business success starts at the top. Great leaders create an ambiance where employees are willing to give their best. Great teams flourish when organizations invest in leaders as individuals, not just in titles, trainings, or perks. There must be a reason why I'm sharing this with you. Well, looking back at my 20 years in high-profile corporate environment, I remember how I felt. I was joining every new company with a renewed sense of hope that typically faded after the first 6 months. My only real job satisfaction, well, finding the perfect angry commute playlist so I can hit the office in a fight-ready state. You know, I just genuinely don't want employees to feel the way I did, as it sucks. Besides, according to Deloitte, 94% of entrepreneurs and 88% of job seekers say that a healthy work culture is vital for success. while frustrated and disengaged employees block the way to business growth. And this is exactly why I'm taking my PhD in psychology. And this is why I'm addressing business leaders, not employees or so-called happiness directors. Yeah, the latter is a dig. Because they hold the power to change it. Your business success starts with freeing yourself from the illusions you choose to believe in. You see, being a better leader isn't about perfection. Actually, it's about active self-awareness. It's about being brave enough to look inward instead of constantly pointing outward. And it's about realizing that your unexamined mind is the most expensive liability in the company. And if you're ready to check your own contribution to your stress, struggle, and suffering, if you want to create genuine change rather than apply surface fixes, that's where this conversation needs to go. And yes, I recognize you may not like what you hear, but sometimes a doctor needs to open an abscess to cure a patient. Although this might sound like a personal attack, no, it is not. Actually, it's an invitation to look deeper. No judgment, just awareness as the first step toward a positive transformation. True, the field of business owner and leader psychology doesn't yet exist. I believe the market isn't ready for it yet. But the leaders who embrace it first will have an enormous advantage over those still playing the blame game. The leader isn't a lost cause. Once you understand how you operate, what influences your decision-making and problem-solving, you can actually address it. Look, one of my clients wrote,
"You were right when you said it was about me. I have been reflecting heavily on what we talked about. Fear of the unknown has certainly played its part in the last decade. I'm clearer on the path forward now. My accountant said he's noticed a difference in me, in my actions and even my voice. My partner comments on how much of a difference he can see in me since our sessions. I can feel the change. The air around me is becoming more breathable, and I have more confidence and self-belief. I wish you were able to see that difference."
And this is what happens when you stop trying to fix the matrix and start fixing the head.
Our sessions have been of huge value to me on my journey to being a better person in business and understanding what I want and need as my confidence and self-worth grow. This feels really positive and is a very important step towards feeling free.
When this leader looked within, they didn't just become more productive, they actually became more human. The biggest lie about leadership is that it's about managing people. No, it is not. It's about managing yourself first. Your team isn't the problem. You are. Because the fish rots from the head, but most leaders are still trying to clean it from the tail. Leaders are fixable, but the choice, as always, is yours.
Unbound mind.
And if you're ready to examine the head of the fish, subscribe to the series. In the next episode, we will dive into the leadership labyrinth, revealing the psychological maze of self-distortions from the inflated ego to the deflated self that keeps leaders and their businesses trapped.